Get ready for the main event podcast. The guys are about to go live. Get ready for the main event podcast. The guys are about to go live. Get ready for the main event podcast. The guys are about to go live. Get ready for the main event podcast. The guys are about to go live. Get ready for the main event podcast. The guys are about to go live. Get ready for the main event podcast. The guys are about to go live. Get ready for the main event podcast. The guys are about to go live. Get ready for the main event podcast. The guys are about to go live. Get ready for the main event podcast. The guys are about to go live. Get ready for the main event podcast. The guys are about to go live. Get ready for the main event podcast. The guys are about to go live. Get ready for the main event podcast. The guys are about to go live.
I have no idea why the intro will not play. It's loaded up right and everything, so I don't know what I did wrong on that. So I'm going to have to pay attention to that. So we got the main event here, of course, Thursday morning. Let me check the sound. All right, I sound good. That sounded conceited. I just meant the audio sounds good on the Facebook. My voice, on the other hand, is what it is. So nothing I can do about that right now. So it is Thursday morning, 10 a.m. main event podcast. Thought I'd come on here today because some news is broken and things this morning that figured we'd want to talk about. So let's get to it, right? So, have you guys seen the biggest news of the day? The biggest news of all time? I know if you follow me on Twitter and everything, you've seen it, of course. And a lot of people have been talking about it. For those of you that, have known me for a long time, know that I used to, like my senior year in high school, back in 95, I'd leave school at noon, right around lunchtime and everything, and would go to, go home and wait for practice to start for whatever sport was playing that time. And I would, quite frankly, go home and just watch the show repeatedly. It was on TBS. Saved by the Bell. That and Wings. Wings is one of my all-time favorite shows back then also. And can't get enough of them. But I would go home, and while everybody else was in school and everything, I would go home and watch these shows and, on repeat, nonstop, to the point where I have them done. I have DVD box sets of all the Saved by the Bells. Even the Miss Bliss years. I'm that sad. And I believe I have the new class. I'm wondering if I still have that one. I'm pretty sure I do, right? As we go on that. So, you can say I'm sort of a fan. I just a fun little show growing up, and you love the subsequent stuff. That has come out over the years. With Zach Morris's Trash and
Yo, Mama.
things
Sorry,
like that.
Dr. Mama.
As I'm just totally screwing this up, what I'm trying to do, and it was just fun, right? Fun show. You got to go back now and see just how bad some of those episodes were and how insulting some of them were. As you went through everything. But anybody that's been following the Twitter and whatnot knows that they're redoing it. They're having a new one come out. So, question is, right? Is it going to be as bad as the Miss Bliss years? Because those were pretty bad. Is it going to be as bad as the college years, which that was pretty fun because I was in college at that time, so I enjoyed it. Is it going to be like that? But I enjoyed that one. Or is it going to be really, really bad like the new class? Because that was god awful when that came back. Right? And it's just going to be a fun little show. I'm looking forward to it. Even if it's one season and gone, I don't care. It's just fun. And my favorite part about it, so the new commercial came out this week. And then I read today because Lisa Turtle, Lars Breweries, I can't say her name, I never have been able to, wasn't going to be in it initially. And now they said she's going to be in it. Not a whole bunch. She's going to have bit roles and everything. So they got the whole group together. I mean, there's an obvious reason why Screech isn't going to be there because dude's a little crazy. And quite frankly, I can live without Screech's goofiness and everything like that. But, the rest of the gang is together, and it's exciting. I mean, I even find some enjoyment in the Tory years. After Jesse left, Elizabeth Berkley left the show. I enjoyed the Tory years. Those were pretty fun. She was like a tough girl with a leather jacket. Yeah. Those just give me a little bit on there. So, anyway, let's take a look here.
Yo, Mama. Sorry, Dr. Mama.
How do you think this year's gonna go for these new students?
I'm psyched.
You're excited for the first day of school?
Why is everybody so rich?
Are you ready for my party Saturday night?
I got DJ Khaled's Baby to make you a playlist. It's okay. Time out. What is up with these kids?
In attendance will be the governor of California.
Max dad?
You look amazing and your hair's fire.
My dad's also coming.
I don't care about your dad, Spencer. I just care about Zach and Kelly.
We all want these new kids to feel welcome.
Can we talk?
Did you just sit backwards in a chair? Wow, I've never seen anyone do that in real life.
It's not gonna work unless we get to know them.
You only know how Bayside works for kids like you.
Hot kids, privileged kids. Privileged kids.
Bayside, it's where I finally felt like I belong. This place is magic.
Damn, I love magic.
Hey, Max, actually, I ordered cheese on mine. Take a look in your pocket. Does this place ever stop being weird?
A 1, 2, 3. The old gang back together again.
Will you go to dinner with me?
Stop eavesdropping.
We're not. We're the Bayside Acapella group.
Bayside.
You're the man, Coach. When I grow up, I want to be just like you. A single childless adult who parties with kids.
I love that last line. That is just classic. I want to be just like you. And he thought he was all cool. He gets just slammed down. So, yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying that. And, can't wait for it. It's going to be my favorite thing are the little nuggets in there, right? Like the things I don't like. They have the Barbara Ann scene, where the neon shirts and new kids are. Obviously Zack Attack's getting back together on the stage there. And, I don't like that. But it's the same problem. You enjoy it, but it's the same problem I have with like Cobra Kai, right? Is that it looks like it's going to be a scene for scene remake of things that happened before. All the good stuff that you remember about the show, that kind of bothers me. Like, let's make it more fun. But at the same time, it's going to be funny. I enjoyed a little bit in Cobra Kai, but at the same time, I do get annoyed with it because I'm like, I've seen this already. So, anyway. So I bring that up today. A little fun. I'm enjoying it. And I got all excited when I saw Lisa Turtle's going to be there at something. And intern on the Facebook says, do not start not mocking Cobra Kai because she's the one that watches it with me. And she knows how annoyed I get with the scene-for-scene remakes of things. I've seen it before. You can make it original still on there. But it's still going to be good. I'm just going to enjoy it. I'm telling you guys, just relax and enjoy it. Because sometimes you wake up, late, and I forgot the theme song. That's pretty stupid of me. Anyway, enough of that. So let's get to sports, right? On this fine Thursday. Interesting thing going on in the NBA right now. I complained a couple weeks ago. I didn't complain. I guess complaint isn't the right word. But I pointed out how the NBA likes to regurgitate coaches, right? Doc Rivers goes right to 76ers right away. The talk was that D'Antoni was going to go to the Indiana Pacers, and he ended up not going there. They hired some guy you never heard of, right? A couple weeks ago. The ex-Raptors assistant. I don't even remember his name. That's where we're at on that. And then they come out, and now the 76ers have gone out now, and they've hired, I'm sorry, not 76ers. The Rockets have hired Steven Silas as their head coach. So, interesting move, right? With those veteran players, with James Harden, the way that team was set up with D'Antoni and Daryl Morey, who we'll talk about in a minute here. They go with basically Dallas Mavericks assistant, Steven Silas. Wow, there's a lot of S's in that. And they pick him on there. So, he has had a Zoom call with many of the players already, and to make sure all the players are on board, because as we know, the NBA is a players' league. And, have they hired a GM yet? I don't even know if they've hired a GM yet. I think they did, actually. So, but how's this guy with that Maverick system? Of course, he's had one of the best young point guards in the league. There with the Mavericks under his, coaching him and everything, and he's going up there now with Harden and Russell Westbrook. Obviously he was working with Luka Doncic the last couple of years, who's 21 and coming up. So he supports him moving up. Mark Cuban supported him moving up. And, he was also a Charlotte Hornets assistant for a while when Kemba Walker was there, and he was at Golden State when they drafted Steph Curry. So this guy has a pedigree of coaching some really good young guys when they first come into the league. The question is how does that move into having Westbrook on your team and James Harden on your team and how they like to run their system and how they want to do stuff? Can he bring more defense to this team? Things like that. A lot of question marks. But the thing I wanted to point out on this deal is after me saying that Stan Van Gundy went to the team he went to, I'm forgetting the name, New Orleans Pelicans. And so after saying that the NBA always regurgitates these coaches that struggle in places or they do well, but they wear out their welcome. And now the NBA is hiring these these assistants that have been assistants for a long time and giving them a shot. It's great to see. I'm enjoying it. Let's see what they got to do. Let's get them in there. Let's see what they can do with these teams. Because Mike D'Antoni couldn't get him over the hump. Can he go in there and get him over the hump and everything is the question that obviously we have to deal with here as we go through it. So I'm excited for it. On other news, Daryl Murray left the Houston Rockets as their GM. He was the architect between that team that you see today. Absolutely. Of course, he got in some heat with the NBA because he supported Hong Kong and ruined the China deal and all that stuff, all that political garbage, and it cost him a lot of money supposedly. And now he's going to the Sixers now, where he's got Doc Rivers there as the head coach. The 76ers have a lot of talent that don't play well together. And the question is you're not going to make roster moves immediately when you get there. But the question is what kind of moves is he going to make there to get that team to where they can play together? Because the team that the 76ers are right now is not a, quote, Daryl Morey team by any stretch, right? And he likes the fastball. He likes that Houston style. He likes the fast play. He likes those players that are fast. He likes the players that can shoot well, things. And that's not what the 76ers are by any string of the imagination. So 76ers have so much talent. It's just they fought with each other all the time. They looked like they didn't want to play well together. You had all those issues in there with Embiid and those guys that, can he make it work? Or is he going to have to redo it because Ben Simmons struggles on there? And they're obviously super injured as well, with Ben Simmons being injured a lot. But then they also, when they play together, they just look like a disjointed team out there for the most part. So this is the time to become there because if he can turn this around with the talent they got, or if he wants to unload guys, he's got guys he can unload. And Daryl Morey's been known to make pretty good trades, like when he got James Harden to the Rockets from Oklahoma City in that deal and getting him down there. It was fantastic, and it worked out for him pretty well. So he has a really good draft history there. So 76ers are bringing in a veteran coach. You can say what you want about him. He could never get the Clippers over the hump. He got Boston over the hump back in the day, but he had a lot of superstar talent in Boston to get him over that hump. And then when he got to the Clippers, it's just been a disappointment after disappointment there in LA land. And see what happens there and what the holdup is the 76ers. I'll just be excited to see another team in the East become really competitive if that can happen, because, just kind of disappointing and boring with what's going on in the NBA East there. But congratulations. I'm enjoying them hiring guys that are been assistants for a long time and not the same old guys like New Orleans did and things like that in the NBA, even though they hired Doc Rivers and stuff. I'm excited to see these young guys get a chance, see what they can do. We all know basketball is a players' league. Players dominate. You have to be able to work with these guys. Brad Stevens being in Chicago is kind of exciting to see what he will do there. So let's see. As if you've been following it as well, for those of you that know, the NBA wants to start their season around Christmas time. A lot of the big-name players said no. They want to start MLK Day, which I believe is January 18th. Don't quote me on that date. Because they want more rest on there. They're not going to play an 82-game season this year. They're going to shorten that up a little bit. One idea floating around is that they want to play only conference games, meaning West teams only play West teams. No East Coast teams. No West going East. No East going West. None of that stuff. That's one thing that is kind of being floated out there right now. I don't understand why you can't start at Christmas times. It seems like that should be the ideal start for the NBA is Christmas. But if you want to go to January 18th, fine. I don't care. Whatever. But if you're going to go to January, that just shortens your season even more at that point. The playoffs are already forever long, right? And things like that. So just whatever. Players decide what you want to do and let the ownership know so they can move on and make their plans, right? So NBA draft is coming up here in November, but that's quite frankly, that is enough NBA talk for my day today. Hopefully, just wanted to give them props a little bit since I did bash on them for redoing, for picking on too many retreads, and now they are starting to hire younger guys or assistants at least. So good for them. Yay, good for them. Woo. NHL. I talked last night on the radio show about Oliver Ekman-Larsson saying, coming out and talking about the quote-unquote trade request that, they put out there to go to either Vancouver or Bruins. I would have loved to see him with the Bruins. If he was going to leave, I would love to see him with the Bruins. I want to see what he can do with a big boy club is what I call him. Not a stepchild. Unfortunately, the Arizona Coyotes are at this point. They don't have the revenue streams. They don't have a stadium. They don't have the crowd support that these other teams do. It'd be great to see if he could do anything with that team and help them out, on there. And, he just doesn't like the trade rumors happening. So that's why he went out there and gave him 2 teams to say, trade me to these 2 teams, because he has a no movement clause and no trade clause is the way what everybody else calls it as. And he just doesn't want to go through the season with trade rumors out there. So that's why they put that out there. He wants to be here, which is great. Let him be here then. You sign the deal, live with it. We can all move on with our life at that point, right? For OEL. But other hockey news that is fascinating out there, New Jersey Devils obviously signed Crawford from Chicago earlier in the year, right? So they're making a deal to move up. And I talked about it on one of these shows where I went up and said top free agent teams that are making moves in free agencies. And they're all the teams that were good this year. They're all the teams that made the playoffs and made runs this year. Were all in the top of the free agent moving and everything. We talked about how Chicago came out and said, we're rebuilding, everybody. We're keeping our core. We're keeping the Jonathan Tays. We're keeping those guys here. But we're going to rebuild. And I like that strategy because they at least came out and admitted it. Whereas like the Coyotes are just doing it and not admitting it. And I like the strategy of just come out and saying it, right? I also like, Detroit's been awful and whatnot. And, of course, I don't have it in front of me right now. But they go out and they sign Bertuzzi back. Get that old name back to the team when you're not very good. He signs a 1-year, $3.5 million contract with the Red Wings. And he scored an NFL career-high 48 points last season. And just get the names back. If Detroit's going to be bad, it's such a good hockey city. They call themselves Hockey Town, whatever. And, he's 25 years old. And obviously it was done by arbitration, by the way, also on Sunday. He had an arbitration hearing. And I don't know what's going on with the Detroit ownership, but they need to step up again and get some of these name guys back in here and keep growing this team as they go forward. Of course, he was selected in the second round of the 2013 NHL draft because everybody knows that, right? Everybody knows the NHL draft. But he scored 119 points on 199 NHL games. And he says the experience he gained after 4 seasons in the league should help him improve even further heading into this season. I mean, this guy's a stud for him. So why isn't Detroit willing to re-sign him? I don't understand this Detroit situation. But it goes back to that thing we found a couple weeks ago where hockey's turning into the sport, especially this year after COVID and the shutdown and the money stream issues and things like that. We're getting into the situation where the haves, the Golden Knights, the Colorado Avalanche, for instance, out here west, are growing their team. They're putting pieces in place to keep improving. And the teams that are have-nots, Coyotes, Detroit, they are continuing to just wallow and just do the bare minimum, bringing in a bunch of young guys that you don't have to pay as much, knowing that you're not going to play as well, and going. And it's just disappointing to see for hockey. That's all I wanted to say on hockey. It's just disappointing. I will say that the Dallas Stars finally do the right thing with their head coach. Right? Bowness, of course, was hired in, I believe, November for the Dallas Stars. They fired their coach and everything, and they hired him to come in. They got rid of Montgomery. Oh, it was December. In December, they fired Montgomery, brought Bowness in, and what does he do? Oh, he takes them all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals, where they ended up losing, of course. And he comes in to where the other coach, Jim Montgomery, I believe his name is, where he was fired for unprofessional conduct. So you had all that situation going on in Dallas. And Rick Brownis comes in, gets it all steadied, and gets, obviously he was their assistant coach there. So he was there during all that. But, gets promoted, and he takes them, and he goes all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals. And never once did the ownership of the Dallas Stars say they're going to bring it back. They said, we're going to have to look at it. We're going to have to look at it. And finally, they do the right thing. And they hire him as their finally coach. I mean, that's just, it's almost insulting, right? And the ownership says, quote, after being called upon in a difficult situation, Rick stepped to the interim head coach role seamlessly and used his unmatched experience to lead the team to a successful second half of the season and a spot in the Stanley Cup final. That's from Stars general manager Jim Nill. He said, quote, watching the team throughout our playoff experience, you really saw the team become his. His ability to connect with our players and our staff is remarkable, and it leads to a situation where everyone is competing for him because they want to see him win, unquote. Then why does it take so long to sign the guy to a contract extension? Oh, I'm just annoyed with hockey these days. I don't understand what's going on with it. We're not seeing anything really on hockey restarting. I know they've canceled some Winter Olympics. I mean, not Winter Olympics. The one where they play outdoor stadiums, Winter Games. They've stopped. They canceled a few of those and everything. And no clue on what the start is or what that season's going to be. So, I'm just annoyed with hockey today, right? But we've got big news coming out of Major League Baseball. Huge news coming out of Major League Baseball. And I don't like it. I find it annoying. I don't know what to make of it. Maybe some of y'all can help me with this one. Manager rumors. You guys ready for this? Tony La Russa, who interviewed for the White Sox job. The rumor is that La Russa and the White Sox are close to sealing a deal for La Russa to manage the team. So on October 29th, that's today, for everybody who doesn't know. This is, of course, from MLB.com. The rumors have been swirling for more than a week that Tony La Russa was a strong candidate to fill the managerial vacancy on the South Side, where the legendary skipper got a start in the big leagues in 1979. According to a tweet by longtime WGN TV reporter Dan Sloan, Thursday, today, could be the day that White Sox make it official. His tweet says, quote, don't be shocked at a major Sox announcement on Thursday, and yes, it's probably what and who you think it is. What in the world are the White Sox doing? I mean, La Russa's 76. He was really good with the Athletics back in the late 80s, right? He was good with the Cardinals. He won 2 titles there. But he's 76. He hasn't been a manager for, 8-9 years now, if I remember correctly. According to a report by 670 The Score, which is the major sports station there in Chicago, General Manager Rick Hahn and Executive Vice President Kenny Williams each spoke with La Russa last week and specifically asked him about his vision for the club, as well as his readiness to manage Chicago's talented group of young players. Obviously, they got the answer they wanted. If the rumor is now that they're going to hire the guy as early as today. Okay. I don't like it. There's a lot of younger guys. I mean, forget about Chip from the Astros, who's finishing up his suspension. Forget about Alex Cora that fit in those molds. I mean, when they came out and they fired Renteria, they said they want somebody with recent championship managerial experience. Tony La Russa isn't a recent managerial experience. He last won in 2011 with the Cardinals. It's 2020. That's not recent. That's 9 years ago. But whatever. Maybe it'll work out. Maybe it won't. I just don't like it. From what the White Sox have said, who they wanted, with the type of person they wanted, and they're making this move, there's just so many question marks on what's going on. It might work out. I'm not saying it won't. I just don't like it. 76. It hasn't been in the dugout in a long time. He's been on the executive side of things. He was here with the Diamondbacks for a while, and then I think he's with the Angels right now, and they haven't been good teams. Haven't been good teams at all. So maybe he needs to be a manager. Could have got a younger guy. And everything. So we'll see. Keep it open. It sounds like that's the way it's going to go. And these are people that are reporting it are people in the know with the White Sox and have contacts in there. So the Tigers are still looking for their replacement for Ron Gardenhire, who stepped down this year because of health reasons and everything. And the Tigers are an up-and-coming team. They're a young team. They don't have a lot of talent on that team. And they're looking at, Yankees third base coach and former, Mud Hens manager, Phil Nevin, for a managerial opening. They also talked to Yankees bench coach Carlos Mendoza. So it looks like the Tigers want to hire a Yankee coach. So they're going on that route. So they have reached out to A's quality control coach, Mark Kotze. So, Mark Kotze is pretty much in line to take over for the Athletics when, the current manager, Bob Melvin, retires or moves along. So it'll be interesting if they can steal him from him. Obviously, he's well thought of in the league. Absolutely. So, some hiring news, but the first one was just shocking to me. Absolutely. Of course, as you guys know, nobody lives in a bubble like this. The World Series ended the other night. The controversy after the game was Justin Turner having COVID, getting pulled out of the game, and then celebrating with everybody, and everybody's talking about how this can happen. As I said when I was on the blender yesterday, my problem with it is baseball has interjected now all of these question marks on how they were running the COVID bubble and how they were doing it. How much were they hiding? How much stuff was wrong? They've entered these questions into everything. It's ridiculous that we have to go through this now that the season's over. I don't like it at all. So, the Astros, placed Roberto Osuna on outright waivers this morning, about an hour ago. According to the Athletics' Jake Kaplan, the team has not confirmed the news. Osuna last pitched August 1st before a right arm injury ended the season. And it was recommended he undergo Tommy John surgery. But he went for his second season. It drew a different conclusion, that it was just a strain in the forearm. So he had to shut it down. He's not injured. So Astros need pitching. Verlander's coming off of Tommy John. He's going to be ineffective next year. 36-year-old coming off of there. They're letting Osuna go. Astros are going to need some pitching. But, whatever. That time of year for Major League Baseball, right? As we go through this here. So, according to MLB.com, I was reading about this today. And this is what's funny, right? Season ends and everybody starts getting into next season mode right away. And they have the team's biggest needs, off-season needs for 30 Major League teams. We just talked about the White Sox with Tony La Russa apparently becoming their manager, if those rumors are correct. They need starting pitching. That's not a shocker to anybody. Their starting pitching wasn't, solid. Wasn't great this year. It was solid, but not great. But they need things, and they're targeting Trevor Bauer. Do you think Trevor Bauer will go there as opposed to Houston or someplace if they hire Tony La Russa, an old school manager, bashing heads with a new school player in Trevor Bauer? Something to keep an eye on, absolutely, on that. I'm getting down here real quick. Los Angeles Angels, one of my teams that I enjoy watching and root for in my spare time. Same thing. Starting pitching. Their starting pitching is atrocious. They were awful this year. They were worse than they should have been this year. And they need to upgrade that in terms of they need 5 new starting pitchers at this point. It's their need every season. They cannot solve the starting pitching deal. I'd like to see them go get Trevor Bauer, to be honest with you. They can pay him. They went after Garrett Cole last year, but of course, last afternoon, they can pay these guys to get in there. They can spend some money. Question is, will they do it to upgrade this? Because every year, it's the same thing with them. Obviously, for most of the teams in the league, according to this MLB.com, starting pitching is the main thing that they all need. Especially a lot of the playoff teams. But the interesting thing is, here locally, Arizona Diamondbacks says that they need relief pitching. Diamondbacks bullpen was bad this year, no doubt about it. They were in the middle of the pack as far as bullpen ERA in this year, 4.6 ERA. They were 10th in the NL in that stat. And they were one of only 4 clubs to post a strikeout to walk ratio below 2.0. Obviously, the Diamondbacks traded Archie Bradley, Andrew Chafin at the trade deadline. That took a hit back. Junior Guerrera and Hector Rondon both have club options and could be bought out. I believe the Diamondbacks won't want to pay them. So they're going to get go. I know they've already made a couple moves. So, yeah, I mean, absolutely, Diamondbacks need relief pitching. I'd say Diamondbacks also need hitting as well. But they do need relief pitching. They need to shore up that bullpen. Just get as many guys in as you can. So my favorite part about this, right, is the Dodgers just win the World Series. They're a solid team. Mookie Betts, I firmly believe. They went out and got the one of, if not the best player in baseball in Mookie Betts. And at least a crunch time guy can prove it because Mike Trout, who was one of the best players, if not the best player, doesn't get to showcase his wares in pressure situations because they never go anywhere, the Angels. But the interesting thing that the Dodgers say, the MLB.com article here says that the Dodgers need third baseman. Justin Turner's the third baseman. He is a free agent, though. And can he be re-signed? Is he going to be their everyday starter? Because they do have Edwin Rios as well there. Be interesting to see. They do say also an intriguing alternative if this happens. The Dodgers can make another huge trade this year and acquire Francisco Lindor, which would, of course, because he's a second baseman, they would move Corey Seager to third base at that point. Interesting move there. That would be an upgrade over Justin Turner coming back. Absolutely. So I just found it interesting that that's the weak point that they determined in the Dodgers lineup was third base, and partly because Justin Turner is a free agent on there, and they just won the World Series, right? So that's courtesy of MLB.com. Of course, I always tweet out, put out on Facebook at the Main Event Pod and on Twitter at the Main Event Pod. I put the articles up that I reference, of course, during the show notes and everything on there. So I'll get that out here after the show as well. For those of you that want to follow other teams, like I said, most of them are starting or relief pitching needs. Like Detroit Tigers, their biggest need apparently is a corner outfielder. Who knew? I don't follow the Tigers very much, on there. Tampa Bay, by chance, is also catcher. Because their current catcher, Zunino, has a $4.5 million club option. But they could look to add another catcher, even if they bring him back. Because Zunino's been having a sharp drop in his numbers during his 2 years in Tampa Bay. They have a top prospect at the catcher they have high hopes on, Ronaldo Hernandez, but he hasn't played above A ball. So it's just interesting how they just in the World Series, and that's their biggest need right there. The Rays' biggest need is not pulling your pitcher at the wrong time. If you haven't, on a side note, I tweeted it out last night at the Main Event Pod, and then this morning on my personal page I put it out. John Boy, if you don't follow John Boy, give him a follow. He breaks down things. He's got a baseball knowledge that quite frankly, I don't have. But he also breaks down these games and makes points. So and they're funny too, and they're sarcastic and they're funny. But he breaks down Blake Snell going out, and he actually puts on there how analytics didn't say to take Snell out and put in who they said. It's fantastic that everybody's blaming analytics for this move, and analytics told him not to do it. And it breaks it down really well. So if you see that, go to @TheMainEventPod or SBAC500 on my Twitter. It's on there. I retweeted it out this morning. Great breakdown by him. I saw a couple of the listeners to the radio show, so a couple of the good listeners took it, didn't give me credit for it, and they took it and ran with it. You know, whatever. Take it, run with it, get the knowledge out there. It's all good. So I'll get that tweeted out here in a bit and everything. Going back to NBA real quick, because it's just leaked out, like in the last hour. Let me get it downloaded here real quick. I saw it right as I was going on the air. I didn't know if it was real or not, but now I've seen it on 3 or 4 different sites. So give me 1 second to get this loaded up. Or nothing like doing production on the air, right, guys? But the Suns. Let's see here. The Suns have leaked their new city jersey out. Now, the Suns haven't leaked it. People on Twitter are saying that it is the new Suns Summer League jerseys. So that's why I didn't talk about it earlier when I did it, because I wasn't sure if it was it or not. So let me get this loaded in here real quick. Let me know what you guys think about this. Let's see here. Sorry. This is literally breaking, and be just a second here. Before I make my comments on it, I'll show you guys. If those of you watching on Facebook Live, obviously if you're listening on Podbean, I'll get this tweeted out as well for everybody. Here it is. The new Sun City jersey, according to some leakers out there. I don't know who leaked it originally. I've seen it in a few different places. But like I said, I didn't know it was real or not, so I kind of left it off those things. But I've seen it now on a couple of reputable sites also, so it might be fake still. What do you guys think? I actually like it. I'm not a fan of those colors normally. The red, the yellow. I like how it looks kind of 80s Atari-ish. But I like it. It says the Valley. I like the way it looks. So if that's it, I'm okay with it. And y'all know that follow me. I'm kind of a jersey snob. I get made fun of for that a lot. I like it. I like the way it looks. I like the black of it. I like how it says the Valley, to be honest with you. That's my favorite part of it. So here, I'll get that tweeted out for everybody as well. Supposedly that's it. It could be fake. Some guy could have made it, but it did go out on Reddit today, as you can see on the bottom there. And so who knows? I'll get that retweeted out, and also on Facebook for everybody that obviously listens to this on podcast systems and isn't watching on Twitter or Facebook Live. So on there and everything. So far we've talked about obviously NBA. We've talked about National Hockey League, some signings that they've done. We talked about the Suns' new city jersey, if that's real. Right. NASCAR on the show last night. I had Randy. Randy was nice enough to produce for me last night, fill in and produce for me for a couple hours. And we talked about last night where Texas race got done. Kyle Busch won it. We got some of those questions that people always wonder about for NASCAR answered by Randy there. And Martinsville is this Sunday, weather permitting. I'm just going to say weather permitting on everything since it rains all the time. Brad Keselowski is on the pole for Martinsville. We also talked about, last night, the rankings in terms of the drivers for the final 4 drivers that are coming out. And, some big names on there. Brad Keselowski's in it. He's on the pole for Martinsville, we talked about. But we talked about the 88 car being retired by Hendricks Motorsports next year. Of course, the 88 car is Dale Jr.'s car. Started with the 8. And then when he went to Hendricks, they changed it to the 88. They're retiring that next year and bringing back their 5 car that they have the rights to. And Kyle Larson is driving the 5 car next year. That's pretty exciting. I don't talk a lot of NASCAR in here. But Kyle Larson coming back and going into this car and having money behind it. Because when he was with the Chip Ganassi team, didn't have a lot of talent. Didn't have a lot of money behind the team. Didn't have the best equipment. He's going to a team that has good equipment. See what he can do with it next year. So that's kind of exciting on there. We also talked about, the new ownership teams. Michael George's ownership team. We got Randy's opinion on it and stuff. So definitely check out the podcast on last night's radio show. I'll have both hours up here on the podcast system here in just a little bit. And definitely check it out. Which hour? I think it was hour 2 we talked the NASCAR deal. So definitely, if you like that and you missed it last night, listen in. Hour 2, I'll have, of course, in the description for everybody as we go through it. As we go. But Kyle Busch finally wins his first race last night, so congratulations to him, right? On there. So let's get into it. We had our picks last night. Of course, our 5-game pick 'em. I got everybody's picks here. Let me see if Mikel has responded with his picks. He might not have. Oh, he sure did. So, of course, the games that we picked this week were Steelers at Ravens. Everybody, me, Kaler, and Adam all have the Ravens. Colts at Lions. I have the Lions. Kaler and Adam have the Colts. I have the Saints. We all 3 have the Saints over the Bears. So we don't know what's wrong with Adam there. He must still be sick with whatever he had there. 49ers at Seahawks. We all have the Seahawks. Cowboys and Eagles. Me and Kaler have the Eagles. Adam took the Cowboys on that one. So, Mikel and the All Access crew, he has the Steelers. Solid pick there, man. Going out on a limb there. I like it. I like it, Mikel. He's got the Colts. Everybody's against me on the Colts so far. He's got the Saints over the Bears. He's got the Seahawks over the 49ers. And the Eagles over the Cowboys tonight. So, Mikel also said that he hopes to do better than last week's picks. There's a reason why I haven't mentioned last week's picks at all. It was pretty brutal. I'm still going to post, obviously, the results up and everything. But, yeah. You do take some chances. We'll give you that. So, right? Intern got her picks back to me here before showtime. She has the Ravens winning. So Mikel's the only one that has the Steelers going. That's going to be a solid pickup for you if you're right on that, right? I just think that the Steelers, it's their opportunity to lose. They're 5-0. They played some hard teams. They're coming off a hard victory over the Titans. That was a hard-fought game. It's just time, there just comes a time where every once in a while you lose. And the Steelers are playing a really good Ravens team off a bye. I just think it's time that the Steelers might lose on that. Intern has the Colts. So I'm the only one with the Lions on this one. She has the Saints over Chicago. So everybody has the Saints winning. She has Seattle over the Niners. And she has the Eagles also. So those are the picks. We'll get them out posted and everything as we go forward on that. So we talked about it last night. Some NFL news, of course. We talked about, everybody knows my hot seats, right? McCarthy's on it. Mike Nolan, the defensive coordinator. Kellen Moore, the offensive coordinator of the Cowboys, is on it. We moved Mike Zimmer on it last week, 2 weeks ago, I think, and because they're just awful. And of course, they have the Green Bay Packers, and Aaron Rodgers came out and talked about how he doesn't think he should be on there. That's because Aaron Rodgers wants to light him up this week, and doesn't want him gone because he knows he's going to light him up. So on there, I need to sit down and put pen to paper on my hot seat list. Obviously, Adam Gase is firmly entrenched on there. Adam Gase's seat is so hot that he's literally in hell right now. Like, it's so hot around him. It's ridiculous how hot that seat is. And a lot of my teams, Matt Nagy's on my he's on my warm list. The reason why he's not on my hot list is because that team could win 10 games this year, and you're not firing a coach. The Bears have done it before. They fired a successful coach. But I don't think they're going to get rid of him if he wins 10 games this year. So he's on my warm seat, but he needs to go. Just because you're on the warm seat doesn't mean you're not going to go. It means that there's other circumstances that might keep you there. So we need to sit down and go through a coaching deal. I'm going to go through that. Absolutely. Obviously, I'm recording my Cardinals Rewind to review the game last week. Obviously, there's no game to preview this week. No injury reports other than Drake's going to be out a few weeks with his ankle issue. So definitely pay attention. I'll get that up no later than tomorrow morning. It's being recorded today. And I'll get that edited, the video edited, posted, and of course through the podcasting system and whatnot. I am filling on the blender again today. I'm on it today and tomorrow as well, at least, and probably next week. Still up in the. I'm committed to next week. We'll see if they're able to get the person they want in there to do that spot. But definitely next couple of days, I'm definitely in there. So I'll get it posted probably tomorrow morning. So it'll be on there for that. So I've got, obviously breaking down that game. Seattle game. That game was so much fun. I can't wait to break it down. That much fun. Literally that much fun. Okay. We wake up this morning. Minshew has been having a good season stat-wise. The team's not good. He has nobody to help him there. He's been awful. And we wake up this morning and find out Gardner Minshew has been dealing with an injury to his throwing thumb. So his status for Week 9 is uncertain. Last week they talked about benching him. Here's my question. Did he have a broken thumb last week? And so they let it go out that they were thinking about benching him? Why would you come out and say he's got a broken thumb? So we pulled him out of the game. Why would you let the rumors go around that you're going to bench him? Was he injured? Things like that drive me nuts about bad teams, if that's the case. But it's a question you have to ask. But he has a sprain and a small break in his throwing thumb. They play the Texans this week. How long has he had this, right? So he has officially it's a ligament sprain with a small break in his throwing thumb, by the way, so he can't grip the ball. It says the team was previously not aware of the injury. So that's obviously he wasn't on the injury report in week 7. But how are you not aware of this injury? Of course, the Jaguars do have a bye week this week, so he does have time to heal a bit. Some quarterbacks have played through a broken thumb, and this is ligament injury. So they have a week to decide still, but just interesting side note, just a side thing there. I mean, Rappaport came out over the weekend and said Jacksonville was already considering sitting Minshew if his struggles this season's continued. So here's the question. Was he injured and didn't tell anybody and nobody noticed he was injured, which I find hard to believe? So he was struggling. And now that they say they're thinking about benching him, did he go, oh, my thumb's broken? Or did they know about it and just trying to get him to play through it? And then they're covering for him, by saying they're going to bench him? I don't understand that. I don't understand it at all. They have nobody behind him. I mean, Mike Lennon is the current backup behind him. On the same point, if after this bye week, if his thumb isn't healed well enough to play, throw Mike Lennon in there for a game. Right? Mike Lennon is not a solid quarterback in this league. He's a backup. And the Jags have no offensive line. And Mike Lennon is not mobile at any stretch. They've already given up 23 sacks with Minshew under center. You need somebody mobile. If Minshew is mobile, has 23 sacks, you need somebody in there. But, of course, Doug Marrone, I said in my bold predictions that he was going to get fired. He's been on the hot seat because that team was just bad. It's not his fault by any stretch. But, they're going to be able to draft a young QB. They're not going to have the number 1 pick probably, but they're going to be able to snag a first-round quarterback if they want to. I mean, Doug Marrone's just wasting his time with the Jacksonville Jaguars this year. So he's been on the hot seat. We haven't talked much about him because their team's been bad, and there's other coaches to focus on. So a lot of things here. And with Minshew being injured, if Minshew can't play, and they have to go to Glennon, and the team continues to lose and continues to look bad while losing. I mean, Minshew's been the bright spot, and he's played bad because he has nobody to throw to. I mean, the coaching staff and even the GM probably is going to get blown out at the end of the year. So that was one of my hot takes at the beginning of the year also. So, yeah, I definitely need to sit down and put this pen to paper for everybody. So you keep track of who I move around, who I take off, and who I don't, right? Andy Dalton, with his concussion, he's still is questionable for this week. He won't practice today. If he plays this weekend, I said yesterday, if he plays this weekend, I'm questioning the whole thing on concussion protocol. I mean, he was no idea where he was. He needs to sit out a week if you're worried about head injuries. And if he plays this weekend, I'm just going to be just floored at what they do on that because that was a shot. And he's not practicing. They're kind of keeping it lingering. Of course, he has to pass it still. He hasn't gotten through concussion protocol yet. He's got to do that by tomorrow in order to play. They're not going to let him out. They're not going to let him out on Thursday. He was able to attend the quarterbacks meeting today, though. Andy Dalton was, according to Mike McCarthy. Of course, Ian Rappaport, the NFL Network insider, said he's unlikely to play Sunday night against the Eagles, which means Ben DiNucci will get the start. Who? Exactly. That's why we all picked the Eagles this weekend, because yikes. Are the Cowboys even going to score a point? If you have Cowboy offensive players, Zeke might be a play this week because he's going to get the ball an awful lot. Right? Woke up this morning to the New York Giants have a bunch of COVID cases. Their offensive lines are down. Here's the interesting thing. So last week, the Raiders' offensive line got struck with COVID. Not that they all got it, but they all had to go on the list due to proximity to one guy getting it. Same thing's happening with the Giants right now. Last week, Tampa Bay went to Las Vegas to play. Dominated that game. Las Vegas was in all sorts. The offensive line wasn't able to practice, all that stuff. Guess who Tampa Bay has this week? New York Giants, who are going through the same thing the Raiders went through last week. What a lucky turn of a draw here for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Of course, AB won't play this weekend. He's got to get through the 6-day, protocol. But isn't it convenient? Tampa Bay now has another COVID outbreak on an offensive line for the New York Giants. Tampa Bay's winning that game regardless. It's just interesting storyline with the schedule for Tampa Bay and the breaks they're getting with their schedule right now. Fascinated by it. Just like earlier when we talked about the Niners, when they were all beat up in week 2 and 3, how they were playing really bad teams during that time. So they got a couple of victories that they, like the Jets, they probably weren't going to get when they played the Jets and the Giants and they were all beat up. They probably weren't going to get those victories if they were playing tough teams with all those injuries they have. Sometimes luck comes on your side with scheduling, and Tampa Bay is getting some luck right now. More bad news for the Patriots. Julian Edelman recently had surgery on his knee that's been bothering him. He will not play against the Bills on Sunday. Cam Newton's a shell of himself. Can't hit an open receiver. Can't hit an open receiver. He can't hit a receiver that's 3 feet from him. He's underthrowing guys, overthrowing guys. He bounced a couple of passes last week, 5 yards short of an open guy. He overthrew a guy by 15 yards at another time. And now he's without Julian Edelman. Patriots, wow. Where have they fallen to? Like I said, this isn't Tom Brady leaving and they're this bad. They were on this trajectory for a while. It's the same team, just minus Tom Brady. And a lot of injuries on there. So just some quick news there. The Chargers, I always want to call them the Clippers. The Chargers did have a player test positive for COVID-19. They're just doing their conducting their meetings virtually today. And I don't think they've said who the player was, but the player was immediately notified. He began his self-quarantine and the contact tracing was initiated. So they've got that all down. The performance center remains open for them. The team will follow its normal practice and meeting schedule. It's just meetings today will be virtually. Just guess what the phrase is, guys? An abundance of caution, right? So they're just taking a deal on there, but it's nothing like, But the Chargers also are dealing with a lot of issues like, Justin Herbert, the rookie quarterback who's playing right now. He was among thousands of people evacuated from the homes amid the wildfires this week in Southern California. Now they have the COVID deal on top of it. So they play the Broncos in Denver this weekend. Some question marks. A lot of uncertainty with the Chargers going into this week against, quite frankly, a bad Broncos team. They should have won this game. Now you got to think twice about it with all these question marks going on. Right? The question that nobody knows the answer to yet, it'll be interesting to see, is if one of the players that had to evacuate from their home, from their wildfire, is one of the ones that got the COVID when they had to evacuate. Question that people are asking, so on there. I'll get out after the show here on the show notes, I'll get out the updated injury report on what's going on that I referenced here with Andy Dalton in them. So obviously it's fluid and it changes every day as we go. Let's see here real quick as I flip through my pages here. Yep, and so another report saying Pat Edelman is out after the knee procedure. Actually, another report on Minshew that just hit says he has multiple thumb fractures. That report earlier from Rappaport said ligament and then one broken, and now here we got multiple thumb fractures. So interesting to see that definitely by a lot of stretches there. So. Yeah, multiple fractures, sprained ligament and thumb. This one is from Adam Schefter. So, X-rays taken this week revealed Jaguars quarterback Gardner Minshew has multiple fractures and a strained ligament in his right thumb. He's had discomfort in his thumb since Jacksonville's October 11th game at Houston. He did not tell the team about the pain until after the last game, which led to a post-game X-ray in Los Angeles. So he kept it quiet. So the team didn't know about it. Because it's bad if you don't put him on injury reports. Like the NFL does not take that seriously. Breaking news. It has happened. We talked about it a few minutes ago when we were discussing baseball. It is official, guys. It is official. Let me pull it up here and see if there's any details on it as we go. Scott Merkin, friend of the program, MLB.com White Sox reporter, tweets out, I'm going to quote it here, Tony La Russa and the White Sox have agreed to terms on a multi-year contract. So it's official. Tony La Russa, welcome to the White Sox. I don't know if it's what they need. I guess we'll have to see. I'm going to wait and see what some other people say about stuff and everything as we get there and see what they say, Get other thoughts on it. My initial reaction is, as I said earlier, not a huge fan of that, but we'll see, right? So really quick, we talked last night about the, games looking forward to this week on the NFL. Some good games this week. We got them on the pick'em. But the other thing I want to talk about here before we go is college football. We talk about the games. I'm going to send Mikkel some picks for that. Me and Mikkel are going to go head-to-head in college football picking this week here, this year. Nebraska-Wisconsin was canceled. Wisconsin's got a bunch of COVID. Means they're out for 21 days. Means they're out of the thing. You can only miss 2 games. Nebraska also gets punished. Nebraska wanted to play a non-conference game to get a game in this week, and the Big Ten told them no. They wanted to play Chattanooga. Mikkel says on Facebook he's going to hold off on his feelings on White Sox hire. If Adam doesn't like it, then I love it. Adam's getting a new phone is what's happening with him, so he's out of pocket. So we haven't been able to communicate with him at all. So we'll see. He's probably freaking out right now. He might need a new phone after this hire. He might be throwing it right now. But I agree, Mikhail. My initial reaction is I don't like it. I want to sit back, though, and think about it. I just don't like it because he's older. And I also don't like it, like I said, because he hasn't been in the Mangiero booth for a long time. So let's see where it goes, So Wisconsin's out of the Big Ten. They're going to miss 3 games at least. 21 days is the requirement in the Big Ten as they go. Also, Mikhail, I'm going to send you 5 college games for this week for you to pick. So we'll get that out and start that this week. You and me, one-on-one, me and Mikhail, as we go through. Big games. Of course, next week we got Pac-12. We're going to be talking college football next week because Pac-12 starts next week, right? There's not a ton of ranked games this week. Coastal Carolina, everybody's favorite, plays Georgia State. Kansas State, ranked 16, plays West Virginia. Iowa State plays Kansas. Iowa State, of course, is ranked this week. Notre Dame plays Georgia Tech. Number 4, Notre Dame. Number 17, Indiana plays Rutgers. Rutgers won last week. Can they keep it going? Kind of a game to watch there, right? Oklahoma State, the best team in the Big 12, plays Texas this weekend. Number 6, Oklahoma State. See if they can keep their winning ways going. Alabama's got Mississippi State. It's going to be a blowout. Can Penn State recover? Here's the problem for Penn State. They lost last week to Indiana, right? Now they got Ohio State this weekend. At home in Penn State. It's going to be a 4:30 p.m. kickoff here on Saturday. For us out here. Texas A&M number 8 plays Arkansas. Should be a win. 22 SMU plays Navy. They've had a bad loss. And then the team I keep telling you guys to watch, BYU. Number 11 plays Western Kentucky on Saturday night. And as I said, Wisconsin, Nebraska was canceled for this week. And if you care, North Texas and UTEP was canceled as well. So college football goes. So I'll get those over to Mikhail here, and we'll get our picks posted. Cincinnati plays Memphis this weekend. That'll be a good game. Can Memphis upset Cincinnati? Because Cincinnati is the one above BYU that you have to watch that's going to get in there to rankings. So I'm excited. College football is back. See where it goes. That's all I got for today, guys. I'm going to wrap this up here. Of course, SMAC 500 on Twitter and on all the Facebook and on all the socials. Of course, SMAC 500 at the Main Event Pod also, where we do the show notes go up, our postings on the shows, what's going on in our podcast and sports world. So give that a follow as well. I appreciate it. Appreciate everybody watching. I'll get this up here on the podcast forums here in just a little bit. Cardinals Rewind, of course, will be out. Like I said, I'm recording it here next, and we'll get that out for tomorrow morning. We'll see everybody next time. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it, everybody.